Oh man, what a season! What an ending! But it ended well for some teams, and for others, not so much. Let's talk about the one team that got the most. We're number one. Oh my goodness! And I had a lot of emotion when Jones scored that touchdown. Because when Jones scored that touchdown, that sealed it. That sealed it, and and that meant we were going to be the number one seed in the National Football Conference. And yes, I vetted about how much harder it would be because the new format. I mean, it's 7 teams now. It's 7 teams per conference. Before before with 6 teams, there were 2 bye spots, so there was kind of room for a little bit of error. Now, with the one bye, you have to be on your toes. It's like college football. You can't afford any mulligans. You have to win at least 13, which we managed to do, and you have to beat this team, this team, this team, and another team. And one of those main teams we had to beat was New Orleans, and apparently that was enough. Everything else kind of fell in place regarding the Packers' road to the top seed in the conference, and it was kind of I was really kind of hoping for it because we almost got it last year. Remember it was about last year around this week last year that we were on the verge of getting it. We got the win we needed, and we needed I think with Seattle's help. We needed Seattle to beat San Francisco. Ironically, this year we needed this year we needed San Francisco to beat Seattle, but what we wanted didn't matter anyway. And Seattle came within a hair of getting that big win, but we ended up with number two, which at the time was a bye spot. But all that's done. We are the top team. We are the number one contenders in the National Football Conference. Oh my God! And the number one seed, that's home field, and that's pretty much a good road to the Super Bowl because you get the division round at home. If you win that game, you get the conference championship at home, something Aaron Rodgers has never had. And it just worked out so well. So the Packers got the win. The Packers got the win to get the number one seed. Saints and Seahawks won their games too, but because the Saints won, the Saints are number two, which would have been a bye spot, last year. So it's the new rules. It's the new format that kind of took a bye from the Saints. Last year it was just one of those things. They all 3-13-3 teams, and the Saints have to be on the lower stand. But the Saints had the second seed at 12-4. Seahawks had the third seed at 12-4 also, but the Saints went 10-2 in conference play, and Seattle went 9-3. So that's why the Saints are number two. I mentioned everything that happened in the early window, and part of it was Dallas getting that win. No, Dallas losing and ending their season. Another part was the AFC races. Baltimore won, Cleveland won. They got in. Miami got trounced. That put Tennessee in. What happened with the rest of the NFC with the AFC picture? It was pretty damn dramatic. It was very awesome. It was the AFC South games, but because Miami lost, there was one spot left, and Indianapolis could get it. All they had to do was beat Jacksonville, and it was kind of tough. But Indy did it. They got in, so no more spots were left. Miami was eliminated, and it sucks. It does suck because they had a good season. It was a good turnaround. It looked like they would finally get into the playoffs, but then that bad game happened. So the Dolphins ended up eliminated, but silver lining because Houston sucked. That draft pick they gave to Miami is now the number 3 pick in the draft, right behind, uh, Jacksonville and the Jets. Oh, it's amazing. What a silver lining. So they got that to go with the original draft pick they have. They're gonna be forced to deal with next year. They are, and yes, again, congratulations to Cleveland, 18 years. first time in 18 years. So the Colts, by the skin of their teeth, they made it. But also by the skin of their teeth, the Titans won the AFC South. A wild and insane game where Tennessee kind of blew that lead, got it back late. Houston got the field goal range late to tie it, but with leaving only 18 seconds left. Now, a lot of us would think it was overtime. But then Tannehill throws this long bomb to get in the field goal range just like that. And the kick doinks off the post and through. I mean, I thought I was watching football, not hockey, because I see a lot of hockey shots like that where when they shoot the puck and it hits the post, ping, it goes in. I see that a lot, and that was a hell of a post. Doc Emmerich would have loved it. Hit the post with the shot. That's my attempt at a Doc Emmerich impression. It needs work. So Tennessee won the division at 11-5. Same record as the Colts, but the division record is the difference. But the Colts are knocked out to the 7th seed, and the season ended with the Washington football team winning the NFC East, and I'm pretty sure the Eagles are going into witness protection after what they just did. Oh boy! So for some reason, with games with two teams playoff hopes in the balance. Well, maybe the Giants playoff hopes in the balance. For some reason, the Eagles decide to bench, to take Hurts out in the third quarter and go with, what's his name? I think it was Oldfield, whatever his name is, and go with him for the rest of the way. And the collective, the loud obscenities I heard were all the way from New York and New Jersey from Giants fans going, what the hell is going on? Well, if you replace hell with a different word. But, so because of that, Washington ended up sealing the victory because the Eagles decided to hell with this. We're gonna take this game and go for the good draft pick. Ended up being the number 6 pick, which is still good, but wasn't worth it. Oh my goodness! I tell you, the Eagles and their fans are gonna have to kind of look over their shoulders for a bit because oh my God, that's the worst bit of sabotage I've ever seen in sports. I mean, that's just ridiculous. This is why I'm a hockey fan, because tanking doesn't exist in the NHL. the league is too wide open. But, I forgot to mention the other pieces of the NFC puzzle. Now, even though the Packers beat down the Bears in Chicago again, the Bears made the playoffs by, as Homer Simpson would say, the 2 sweetest words in the English language, default. Yeah, because the Cardinals are idiots. Because the Cardinals are even bigger idiots than the Bears and had a very terrible home stretch, which included a bad home loss to the Lonely Niners. And they needed to beat the Rams to stay alive, and Kyler wasn't in it the whole game because he was banged up, and that just messed everything up. So the Rams won. They got in. The Bears got in because of it. And Arizona, they're done. So that's that. And so that's that. So again, Washington won the division, and that girlish squeal you hear, that's Tom Brady celebrating the fact that he doesn't have to play the Giants in the playoffs. Oh man. So a very insane 2020 regular season comes to an end, and come hell or high water, the NFL did it. Even with the positive tests that hit a lot of teams, the Packers included. There was a lot of criticism about towards the league about their obsessive need to get a season through untouched and unfeathered, but they did it. Consequences be damned, they did it. They didn't need to do eight teams per conference playoff format because they were planning that in case any more games get canceled. They weren't going to do that, but they said the hell with it. They played the games as scheduled, and now we got a full planned format with the 2 byes. So again, the final playoff picture, the final playoff standings are Kansas City 14-2. They lost a game that wasn't important. Kansas City 14-2, at number 1. Number 2, the Bills at 13-3. Number 3, the Steelers at 12-4. Number 4, the Titans at 11-5. Number 5, the Ravens at 11-5. Number 6, the Browns at 11-5. And number 7, the Colts at 11-5. Baltimore is the 5 seed because they swept Cleveland, and they beat Indy. Cleveland's number 6 over Indy because they beat the Colts head to head all over. And of course Tennessee is the division winner over Indy because the better division record. In the NFC, Packers 13-3 are number 1. Saints number 2 at 12-4. Seahawks number 3 at 12-4 because of conference record 10-2 for the Saints, 9-3 for the Seahawks. The Washington football team 7-9 won the division. The Buccaneers are 5 seed at 11-5. They locked it up with the win over Atlanta. The Rams, the 6 seed at 10-6, and the 8-8 Bears are 7. Arizona had the same record, but Chicago had the common games tiebreaker. And the Rams were part of it. The Bears and Cardinals each played the Rams. And the Bears lost to them once, but the Cardinals lost to them both times. So yeah, that'll do it. So that's that. The regular season is over, and now it's playoff time because of the extra wild card. Instead of 2 wild card playoff games per conference, it's 3. It's been dubbed as Super Wild Card Weekend, but we won't be part of it. And neither will KC. So the wild card games in the AFC are as follows: the Colts had the Buffalo to face the Bills, a battle of 2 teams who used to be the AFC East together. Yes, I'm old enough to remember that. But yeah, the Bills host the Colts. The Steelers face the Browns again for the third time, obviously for the third time this season, but it's the second time in a week. But this time it's in Pittsburgh, and yes, this time Ben will be starting. And it's the Titans hosting the Ravens. That's another rematch. Tennessee actually beat the Ravens in overtime in Baltimore. That was during the Ravens' down period where it looked like they were going to miss the playoffs altogether. That Derrick Henry touchdown overtime. Those are the wild card games. Remember, Kansas City has the bye. In the NFC, the Saints host the Bears. The Saints host the Bears. Saints didn't beat them this season. Seahawks face the Rams for the 3rd time this year. They split the season series. The Rams won the first game at home, and then the Seahawks took the rematch at home. That's the game they won to win the division. And Washington hosts the Buccaneers. They have not played each other this year. And of course the Packers have the bye. So that's the wild card weekend. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be crazy. And all I can say is enjoy the playoffs. I'll be back to. I think I will plan on doing a preview of the NHL season. I'm gonna do it by division, so it's gonna be 4 videos. So, but I will recap Wild Card Weekend next week. So enjoy the playoffs. It's going to be hella fun.